Welcome back to my channel, y'all. We are back with another book review. Can you believe it's only been like a month since my last book review? We picking up the momentum, okay? We are not playing games. We are reading. We are succeeding. First of all, shout out to you if you tuned into my last book review. I will have it linked down below, Mind Over Medicine. Today's book review, we will be uncovering the new science of a lost art. We're going to be getting into Breath by James Nestor, and I am so excited. I don't want to beat around the bush. We need to get to the meat and potatoes. This book, mind blown. My mind is blown into pieces, okay, after reading this book. Mind Over Medicine, the Breath Over Medicine. If you are familiar with my book reviews, you know that I don't like to give too much away in case you want to read the book for yourself. So I highlight passages throughout my reading experience and we kind of break those down. I usually do about 3 passages, maybe 4. So without further ado, let's get into this book, honey. Breath by James Nestor. Before we get into the passages, I just want to sort of introduce you guys to what we're going to be getting into today, and I'm going to read what's on the inside of the little flappy cover here. No matter what you eat, how much you exercise, how skinny or young or strong you are, none of it matters, okay? None of it matters if you are not breathing properly. There is nothing more essential to our health and well-being than breathing. Take air in, let it out. Repeat 25,000 times a day. Yet, as a species, humans have lost the ability to breathe correctly, with grave consequences. Journalist James Nestor travels the world to figure out what went wrong and how to fix it. Nestor tracks down the men and women exploring the hidden science, okay, behind ancient breathing practices. You guys, to sum it up, okay, after reading this book, I am convinced that you can take over the world if you know how to breathe properly. Without further ado, let's jump into these passages, because that's why we're here. From the chapter entitled Chew, okay, yes, as in chew. People, pigs, whatever. Whenever they switched from harder foods to soft foods, faces would narrow, teeth would crowd, jaws would fall out of alignment, breathing problems would often follow. In the chapter Chew, James Nestor explores the history, the evolution of industrialized farming, where it originated, how it changed, and how industrial farming played a role in how our faces and our skulls and our skeletons were evolving. Chewing is vital to keeping our mouth intact and in shape so that we may breathe properly. Hard chewing is like muscle exercise for the mouth, for the jaw, for the teeth. The more you chew, ladies and gentlemen, the better you breathe. The more you chew, the straighter your teeth are, right? I guess back in the day, diet was, you know, hard meat, hard vegetables, right? Barks from trees, nuts from the leaves. Our ancestors had to really put in work to chew their food and digest it. And over time, with the softening and industrialization of food, right, and processing food, we have suffered as a result. Our mouths have suffered, our teeth are now crowded, our jaws are falling out, our breathing problems are happening. Let that marinate. All right. This is from the chapter Less, okay? The yogi's life is not measured by the number of his days, but the number of his breaths, wrote BKS Iyengar, an Indian yoga teacher who had spent years in bed as a sickly child until he learned yoga and breathed himself back to health. He died in 2014 at the age of 95. For those of you who don't know, yoga is a practice that started in India thousands and thousands of years ago. And it originally started off as a way to control the prana, right? The life force in the body. Breath work, right? Done during a still pose or a strenuous pose or an aerobic exercise, if you will, right? Which is what yoga is now, more of today. I learned so much about the art of yoga, where it comes from, the purpose behind it, how it's been shifting, right? And evolving over years. So fascinating that, you know, in ancient times, this was a form of healing, right? This was the only medicine that they had. It was about connecting your breath with life, right? And embracing the correlation between the two. Okay, so that's from the chapter Breath. Now we're going to go towards more the end of the book. Breathing through your nose. And I'm so happy I opened up to this because I said, I don't know if I mentioned this in my intro, but this book changed my life. I am now so much more conscious about how I'm breathing, how often I'm breathing. Throughout the book, you learn why it is so important to breathe through your nose, right? Nasal breathing versus mouth breathing. That's like one of the biggest things you're going to take from this book. Breathing through the mouth is the underlying cause of disease and illness and deformity. Mouth breathing, okay? Like, who would have thought? Apparently, it all boils down to the carbon dioxide in your body, how oxygen is delivered to the cells in your body, and how they, essentially how the breath serves as fuel, right, for everything. Breathe through your nose, you guys. The perfect breath, and you can practice doing this every day for a few minutes, for a few hours, okay, as long as you're doing it. The perfect breath, and this is something I also learned in here, is 5.5 seconds of inhaling through the nose and 5.5 seconds of exhaling, right? You can either exhale through your mouth or your nose, but the important thing is that you inhale through the nose and exhale through the mouth, 5.5 seconds of each. That apparently regulates your heart rate. That is apparently the perfect amount of oxygen that our bodies can intake at the perfect time to really utilize the oxygen and the carbon dioxide, right? To fuel us and to give us everything that we need to remain balanced. Breathing through your nose also forces you to control your breathing. You are essentially taking control of how your body is operating. Breathing is a key input. From what I've learned in the past decade, that 30 pounds of air that passes through our lungs every day and that 1.7 pounds of oxygen our cells consume is as important as what we eat or how much we exercise. Breathing is a missing pillar of health. I'm gonna leave that there. Breathing is a missing pillar of health. And what that means is we're over here taking steroids. We're over here doing this, that, and the other. Modern medicine, the healthcare system, hospitals, ICU. Yes, modern medicine is necessary in emergencies, especially. What breathing does, and if you pay attention to your breathing, if you practice breath work, essentially you will be preventing illness and disease, and you will be giving your body what it needs to produce what it has to in order to remain healthy, vital. And this might come off kind of like, okay, duh, we breathe. Like, duh, we breathe. But no, we don't breathe, okay? We're either breathing too much, which is another thing that James Nestor discusses in this book. We breathe too much as humans, and that can be harmful. The thing to do is to slow down the breath, okay? That's the key. The key is taking slower breaths, more quality breaths, okay? So longer inhales, longer exhales, regulating the breath. That is the key. And if we take time out of our day every day to practice the art of regulating your breath, we will be better off in the long run. And if we don't pay attention to how often we're breathing through the mouth versus the nose, you're going to have health issues that could have been prevented. The list goes on. This book is so fascinating. I can't even really say too much more other than I highly recommend it. This book talks a lot about why we need to get back to the basics of breathing. Breath work is so important. Mindful breathing, athletes, athletic performance, everything in our life is possible. We can achieve those things. Our bodies can go that extra mile as long as we're breathing right, as long as we are taking time out of our day to breathe properly, because it's not as easy as it sounds. Close your mouth. And focus on breathing in. It gets deep, you guys. Like, this book is so deep, and I had to reread a lot of passages because I was like, wait, what? Let me read that back, because it was so condensed of information. Lately, what I've been doing is making sure that I get my breath work in during my meditations. So after I work out, I breathe, I meditate. Thank you guys so much for tuning in today. I really hope that you guys took something away from this video. This is just honestly one of those books where you just have to read it to experience it for yourself. It was so jam-packed with information. It took you on a ride, okay? Like, it was so informative. It was just amazing to read, and I'm so happy that I did. I feel like my mind and my perception on breathing and just overall just life in general, it really made me take a hard look at myself, you know what I mean? And my life is forever changed after reading this book. I am not the same. I am not who I was before reading this book, okay? It's life-changing to say the least, and it's so jam-packed with information. It's very relevant for today. Right now, we are all looking for ways to amplify our health, to you know, be better about just living healthier lifestyles. Breathing, you guys, breathing is the foundation of it all, okay? And it's like, we already knew that, but this book breaks everything down, breaks down the why, right? The science behind the art of breathing, essentially. And it is just fascinating. And my life has been enhanced just by the information that I took in. I am going to try my best to implement the techniques that I learned in this book. He also, in the back, breaks down the techniques that you can apply in your life during your breathwork sessions, during your meditation. You can take any time out of any day to practice your breathwork. But as you guys can see here, he has it like a little textbook, okay? And he has the different techniques that you can do, and he breaks it down. And I'm definitely going to be trying these, implementing these. Alternate nostril breathing, right? Breathing coordination, chewing, right? He breaks down how we should be chewing, okay? As I mentioned earlier, chewing plays a big role in how we breathe. And chewing, if done properly, right, can really enhance things. Tummo breathing. This is really intense stuff here. I would be down for a Tummo session, okay? Comment down below if you know about the Tummo. We'll definitely be back with more book reviews. We already have 2 books lined up. I am so excited for the next one, you guys. We are getting into some unlocking the secrets, dimensions of your life. We are getting into some Deepak Chopra. I am a big fan of Deepak Chopra. I've never read any of his books, but I have done a few of his meditations. I fucks with Deepak Chopra. So that's the author we're going to be getting into next. I am so excited, you guys. Thank you so much for tuning in today. Don't forget to like and subscribe and share with your friends and join my little family here on YouTube. I'm forever grateful, and I will catch you guys on my next video, guys. Mwah. Stay safe, stay beautiful. Mwah. One love. Bye.